Producing a show is not a cheap action. Even back in the day when the TV show was just a show without any flashy features that were usually seen in Hollywood movies, an average TV series was costing $3 to $6 million per episode. With the introduction of the golden age of TV and epic shows like Game of Thrones, though, these numbers remain quite reasonable, with the cost of a TV show episode rising up to $60 million. Naturally, when it comes to a show like Yellowstone, which is a global hit with a top-notch cast, crew, landscape, and cinematography, one assumes that millions of dollars would be invested in the show each year. Well, this is exactly the situation with the creator of the show, Taylor Sheridan, revealing that any Yellowstone show costs about $500 million a year. The expenses of an average TV show can vary greatly depending on various factors such as the genre, production scale, shooting location, cast salaries, and special effects requirements. At first, there are expenses related to developing the show's concept, scriptwriting, storyboarding, location scouting, and hiring key production staff. We know that Yellowstone is renting a ranch in Montana, which is already costing millions of dollars. Then there are expenses during the actual filming, including salaries for the cast and crew, equipment rentals, location fees, set construction, costumes, makeup, and production insurance. There are also the expenses cover activities after filming, such as video editing, sound design, visual effects, music licensing, color grading, and finalizing the episodes. Besides, TV shows often have a team of writers who work on scripts and storylines. The cost includes their salaries and any additional fees for consulting or guest writers. The cost of actors' salaries can also vary widely depending on their popularity, experience, and the overall budget of the show. Established actors typically command higher salaries. For instance, having an A-list name like Kevin Costner on board does not allow one to be cheap. In fact, the actor earns $1.3 million per episode, which is one of the highest payments in the sector. There are also the salaries of various crew members such as directors, producers, cinematographers, editors, production assistants, and other technical personnel involved in the production. Creating sets, designing props, and constructing suitable filming environments incur costs as well, including materials, labor, and set decoration. If a show requires visual effects, the expenses can be significant. This includes CGI, practical effects, and any post-production enhancements. Thankfully, Yellowstone is safe in that department, creating little to no costs. But promoting the show to attract viewers also involves costs, such as advertising campaigns, public relations, press events, and digital marketing efforts. If a show includes licensed music, which Yellowstone does with some amazing country bangers, intellectual properties, or trademarks, there may be fees associated with acquiring the rights to use them. We know that Sheridan usually uses his own assets and works with more or less the same crew in almost all Yellowstone shows. At first, this may seem like a logical approach to cutting costs, but the writer openly expresses that he prefers this way even if it costs more, simply because he knows he can rely on these assets and crew members rather than risk the project with something new. Nevertheless, a new Wall Street Journal article raised concerns about excessive spending based on leaked emails from the production staff. This comes in the wake of Paramount's $511 million loss in its streaming business in the first quarter, despite Sheridan's shows being credited with attracting millions of new subscribers. So it seems like all Yellowstone shows could have cost less if the resources were allocated more thoughtfully. That being said, it seems like the Paramount officials have no complaints about the current situation. According to David Glasser, everything is done through a 3-bid system, and Viacom has an audit team to ensure transparency. For instance, shooting the series 1883 on Taylor Sheridan's ranch reportedly cost around $50,000 per week, which was comparable to the price of the neighboring ranch. Sheridan stated that the budget allocated for 1883 was initially $175 million, but he managed to bring it down to $169 million, even considering the rush costs. He proudly states that it became the biggest show despite being produced within the reduced budget.
I don't rehearse with my actors. There's no way for me to inform them what this way of life is. You just have to do it. I just take them out and put them to work.
The prequels are time capsules of life in Montana, as a microcosm of the world as a whole, he expressed. They're big spectacles, and the more that you move into the modern era, the bigger that spectacle becomes. I know these are huge bets Paramount makes on me every time. I'm asking them to give me Game of Thrones Season 6 money for what is essentially a pilot every year, and that's a big ask. As long as I do my job well and people don't bore with the genre, I think there will be enough for many more prequels, 3 or 4. Chris McCarthy trusts me because I haven't been wrong yet. Do you think Yellowstone's cost is at a reasonable price? Do you think Sheridan is draining Paramount's resources with his overspending? Let me know what you think in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video. Thank you for watching. See you soon.